Horror movies are full of archetypes. Beyond the scares and the mystery, something that characterizes horror films is those characters or monsters that appear in almost every single horror film. Those beings have lingered in culture and society for years. Ghosts, serial killers, fantastic beings, all of them nightmare material. But even being conventional, those archetypical characters tell us something. For example, zombies. They can represent Cold War paranoia or the capitalism nightmare. Vampires are bound to sexual desire, and werewolves are related to basic instincts or even the will to come out. One of those archetypes is witches. What about them? To find the answer, we can go 101 years in the past to visit a Scandinavian silent film that defined witchery and folk horror to the present day. Witchery has been a recurrent topic in cinema since early silent movies. However, the release of Häxan in 1922 opened the doors to witches to unexplored terrains. Häxan is a Swedish production directed by Benjamin Christensen, a renowned figure in the artistic scene in Denmark at the beginning of the 20th century. Professor Richard Brackstrom, author of the book Realizing the Witch, claimed Häxan was the most expensive, ambitious, aesthetically complex and technologically advanced silent film that Scandinavian cinema produced, period. As Chloe Germain Buckley points out, Häxan touched on almost every topic related to witchery. Cannibalism, the theft and murder of infants, the ability to enter homes uninvited, transformation into animals, eating the flesh or sucking the blood of infants, powers of flight conveyed by ointments made from infant flesh, and riding demons or brooms through the air. Häxan references most of these. The many faces of witches in Häxan make them look intimidating, embodying what Professor Mary Russo named the female grotesque. An aesthetic that reveals binary ideas of women as either hags or temptresses, angels or whores. The figure of the witch encompasses such dualisms. She may be young and beautiful or old and miserable. But the real horror of the film is portrayed by a novel side for the role of witches in cinema until then. The tortured, indecipherable, and persecuted witch. That role of the doomed witch is recreated by women, a representation that relies on historical facts. The numbers vary, but historians consider that the total executions for witchcraft between the early 15th century and the late 18th century ranges from 40 to 80,000. According to other authors, the number could ascend to 500,000. Of the executed, 85 to 90% were women. Even if the 8 million executed witches that Christensen mentioned in the film are excessive, the core of his story lingers over the idea of harm to those accused of being witches just because they are women. As Kelly Robinson points out, today, Häxan's horror lies less in its depiction of witches and witchcraft and more in the fact that it depicts hundreds of years of the ongoing systematic oppression and abuse of women. And Chloe Germain Buckley goes even deeper. In Häxan, witches are not only women, they are poor women. That this balance of power is taken to the edge by Christensen, who not only directs and scripts the story but also acts. He is the devil in the movie. This devil is all the more frightening because he is so obviously a real man, hairy and barrel-chested. His leering, tongue-wagging, and miming of masturbation as he furiously works a butter churn are all the more repugnant because his actions are recognizable to any woman who has tried to walk down a street.